I'm Andrew,
I'm Katie.
and we are from Wealth, and you are listening to the Airey Bros podcast. No better way to learn than just to go through it and be in the midst of chaos.
There's a lot of content conversations that happen like in the shower and random areas where we're like, write that down because we're going to forget it. Like, we got to do that. We got to make that video, right?
Our programs are, designed to help people overcome pain in a long-term format. So I kind of pride myself in saying that we don't look for like a quick solution. People think that like they're trying to become pain-free, and what we tell them is we're trying to get them to be free of pain. The social media aspect, just understanding that there is an absolute grind to it. Just like anything else that you want to be great at in life, you just have to put in that work every single day. We get more views outside of our audience if we really plan to follow what social media wants, and that's that super fast, catchy, just BS. Doesn't really give you any information. It's just really entertaining. It's like watching fire trucks go by and you're just chasing them.
Last time we spoke, you were in a different situation, and I think you've always been someone I've looked to as the social media guy in my life who, let's just say, started from nothing. Someone reposted a video, and boom, you guys took off, and you guys were running, right? And now you guys have wealth going on, and you guys started that from scratch, right? And
Yes.
I'm curious to what the difference was for that, and kind of what the learning curve was on that end, and what you learned, the do's and the do nots of creating something from scratch.
Well, we learned a lot from going through business with that previous business. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. Obviously, the social media aspect, just understanding that there is an absolute grind to it. Just like anything else that you want to be great at in life, you just have to put in that work every single day. And so in that regard, I just switched right over to doing the same exact thing on social media over here. And we're growing slowly. Social media isn't what it used to be. However, with our small following, I think that we're doing a lot better job of grabbing the users and bringing them into our ecosystem. We have a really niche community, and that's really incredible. I'd say with even just a tenth of the following that we had, we're still absolutely crushing it and doing really great. As far as the business side, like the legal components and everything, getting all of that in check was really important right off the bat, like making sure everything was looked over by attorneys and we had just the whole backbone of the business built out correctly right off the bat and not sparing any expense there, because you find out that if things aren't built out correctly from the start, it becomes very expensive in the end when things go awry. Do you have stuff to add to that?
No, that's pretty accurate. We got a real crash course on business law toward the end of the previous business, and so started things out with a really clean slate with the new business.
It's a good opportunity. I mean, there's no better way to learn than just to go through it and be in the midst of chaos. It teaches you.
You mentioned some things there that really caught my ear, and the one you mentioned, having a smaller following. But I'm curious, to having that bigger following, did you realize that a lot of that stuff wasn't real and wasn't real people? Like, how much of those, if you have 1 million followers, are actually engaging with you and actually kind of...
This is cool because like there's always this like, do we want the video to be viral or do we want it to give education and just hit the audience that we currently have? And a lot of times we lean toward that second option. We sometimes push a video to go more viral, or try to. We don't always plan for it to go viral, but it'll usually get more views outside of our audience if we really plan to follow what social media wants, and that's that super fast, catchy, just BS. Doesn't really give you any information. It's just really entertaining. It's like, you're just watching fire trucks go by and you're just chasing them. That's the viral content, but like really focusing on the educational stuff is more fulfilling for us, and it seems to grab the attention of the people that we already have. So we do follow the more educational aspect versus like, we were just constantly making like viral content that wasn't necessarily the best thing for people. Even though they'd say, oh my gosh, your stuff is amazing, I'd look at it and be like, this is just kind of subpar.
What does your blueprint for creation look like? Are you planning a week out, a month out? Like, What's your process looking like these days?
Right now, we
With-
have a larger bank of content than we've had in a while. We always intend to bank content out, a couple of weeks, but for a long time, we got in a cycle of, I don't have anything to post today. We need to make content. It just kind of sneaks up on you. But we we go in waves with different topics and try to keep it, really specific to our niche and what people are looking for. But also try to keep it varied, so we're not just doing the same videos over and over.
Yeah, and we'll tend to we have an anatomy artist over here, and we'll set up a time, we paint that piece, and we'll just film 10 to 15 pieces with that artwork, and then we'll kind of post that over a period of 2 or 3 months while we film some other content in between, some smaller pieces, some that might go viral and get some other audience watching our content rather. And then we'll also sometimes we just have these days where let's just make a bunch of content. Right now, I think we have probably 20 pieces. And then we also repost some content, stuff that's done well almost a year ago. We'll just throw it up again. And sometimes I'll re-edit it, change some things, throw it up again. So we're just constantly cycling through some stuff. And that's been a nice flow. That's 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Cameron, our other business partner in California, he does our testimonials. So he takes care of at least one of the posts each week. So I have one day off. Saturday.
But isn't this saying, if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life? Isn't that what they say?
Yes, I think. Well, you were just mentioning that, you doing some of the coaching you're doing, you don't get that stoked on it, and I think it's the same. I'm doing the same grind quite a bit of the day, and I've been doing it for 9 years. I've been making content, writing it, editing it, posting it, doing the comments, the DMs, and creating these relationships. I've been doing that for 9 years, and social media is crazy. Sometimes there's just assholes that come on, and it's I spent so much time making this content, and you're just a dick. I want to say that, but I also don't want to stoop to their level. So then, I try to come up with some witty responses that make them look like assholes, or I block them.
Yeah, depends how much energy we have to engage with it.
So, there's just social media does beat you down a little bit. Right now, I think we're pretty happy with the content we're putting out, and that's been more fun recently. So it goes in waves.
So are you filming stuff every day, or is that going in waves too, where?
No, it's probably once a week at least. We'll do a batch of filming. So then we're not spending it every day, because that really sucks. If you're also filming, having to be creative, if you can just devote one day to being creative, then you're going to create some better content. If you're just trying to fight for it, but fight for it every day. If we have a batch of content right now, if we have something that come up that we're oh, that's a fun idea, it's easier for us to make it, because we don't feel like we're having to make it because we need to post something. If we already have a batch of stuff, we have a bank of it, then making something new there's not as much pressure, and usually that stuff does better. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that just comes to your mind always does better. If you have to force the content, it's usually not as good.
There's a lot of content conversations that happen in the shower and random areas where we're write that down, because we're going to forget it. We got to do that. We got to make that video right now.
Mm-hmm. Always on.
Do you both have notepads by your bed? So if you wake up with a thing at night, middle of the night, you're just jotting it down?
We use the Apple Notes or whatever. Just we keep a shared note, and we'll throw stuff on there. I don't take a lot of notes. I never have. And
it's weird.
You're like Jay-Z, you just freestyle?
I just remember a lot of stuff. I don't write stuff down.
If I don't write it down, gone.
Me too. I'm the same.
Same.
Well, I'm the outlier.
Social media is changing, right? It's a different marketplace than it was 9 years ago. And you mentioned your community being different. And I think one thing to really, it's not just a social media for you guys. You guys have a program that you help people with, that you're hands-on. And I definitely want to get into that. And I'm curious how much time goes into the social media aspect of things, and how much time goes into the website and the program, and at what point is it like we're doing too much of the social media thing? We need more of like the substance in here.
That's fun. The community, I spend about 30 minutes to an hour in there each day, just helping people. We have a private Facebook community. They come in, they post their videos, and I give them feedback or whatever. Like maybe they're just like, dude, my life sucks right now. And we just talk it through with them. And then there's a bunch of other people that will talk to them, share their stories, and how I think what's great about the community is everyone's been fucked up at some point. So they can just talk about like, this is how I made it through that situation. Then you've got 20 people that are saying that. And then, I'll come in and sometimes I don't have to say anything. I'm like, all these people said everything. I don't need to do anything. And I just kind of move on to the next person. But I'm only spending about an hour there. Social media, on the other hand, is a lot of work. Like my screen time on my phone's anywhere from 5 to 8 hours a day. And most of that is on just social media, just communicating with people.
Yeah, I think when we made the program, I mean, we've done various renditions of programs over the years. And so by the time we made these programs, we've gotten pretty good at getting everything across to people very clearly. And so there's not as much community support needed because we really made sure that everything was there. We know the things that people struggle with. We know the questions that we get historically, and we made sure that we addressed all of that in the program. So I think the need from the communities has gone down over the years as we've become better at instructing through the programs. We also do live coaching calls where we kind of touch on the topics that are just continually a struggle for people. Social media, on the other hand, branching out into new channels like TikTok, which is just
Clapper.
We just started on Clapper.
Clapper.
So Clapper's like maybe the new TikTok.
If TikTok gets shut
geez.
down, there's like
So
on TikTok, they're like, we don't want to support Instagram and Facebook, so go to this new platform. It's called Clapper. And so I went and looked it up, and we just made an account, started just posting, and I mean, it's already growing. It's crazy, but
Is there like a special name? Is it CLAPPER? Is it CLAPR or something
yeah,
crazy?
go get the clap.
everyone wants the clap, right?
How do you know I don't have it, bro?
You wouldn't be sitting here talking with us if you did.
So yeah, social media, we spend a lot of time on that just because like that's how we are able to help more people. The people in our community, they're usually off to a great start, whether they're in our community or not. Sometimes people don't even touch our community. They go through our program and they're kicking ass. And so we put our effort into just trying to bring more people into the ecosystem. And that is through social media, which is a bit harder to grow. I see new people come into social media. They're like, yeah, I started my account a year ago, and they're at like 1.7 million on Instagram. And I'm like, what?
How much of that is really organic, though?
It is.
Is it?
That person, that's pretty rare though. I mean,
Yeah.
there are definitely people that just pay to play. And I think
Yeah.
that we haven't done that. Everything's been organic and it is a grind, but I think that there is some value in the people who are like, look, my time is really valuable and I don't want to spend my life on social media grinding away every day. So I'm going to pay to just promote my stuff. I think that's fine.
And
but
for the people that are listening, like I see some accounts that have 20,000, 40,000 followers, which is easily attainable. And their ecosystem, like they post and they'll have like 100 comments in their post, which is a lot for that size following. And it's just, these people are like in it with this person. They love this influencer so much. They don't need to be a big individual. And like a lot of times they have better, more educational information. Like I learned from these pages as well. And it's the big pages that are kind of chasing that virality. Virality? I don't know, word.
Two things off of that. One, is Instagram your main focus, or are you kind of trying to spread it out evenly? I know you just mentioned getting the clap. So like, is that something that's you're taking some of your attention? Like, how do you balance that all out? What's the most popular platform for you?
I focus on Instagram. Katie's the one that branches out to the other ones. Like she grew the TikTok to like, what is it? 300? Almost 300K. It's our biggest platform, but it's also the one that's hardest to convert from. So it's like you can have 1 million followers on TikTok and it's really hard to get those people over to your Instagram or to your website or your program. Instagram, on the other hand, it's really easy to send people to your website. But then she's also doing YouTube and the clap. YouTube's
And-
really small.
And do you find that it's, because working with kids, again, I'm seeing very specific things that they attract to or draw their attention to, or keeps their attention. Do you find that to be the same thing where it's like there's not a lot of crossover between TikTok to people that go to Instagram, that go to YouTube? Are they just specifically consuming on one particular platform?
There is crossover, but each platform feels very different in terms of the community that is there and the feedback, the comments. I mean, they are very, very different places.
TikTok is aggressive.
It-
Like they just,
More aggressive than Instagram?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
way more.
Really?
Yeah. People on
Like,
TikTok just say stuff like, I mean, zero filter.
Like
It's wild.
negativity or just in general?
Negativity or like sexual comments, or I mean just off the wall stuff that I'm looking up Urban Dictionary, like what are these words? I'm not that old, but like I don't know what you're saying to me right now. It's just a whole different world, and the attention spans I feel like on TikTok are even shorter than Instagram. It's like people are just programmed to just, if you don't catch them in the first, half of a second,
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah,
You're
Instagram,
done.
you got like a second and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube obviously is longer form, so we haven't made much longer form content for that. Maybe one piece, but we throw our shorts on there, and those are okay. There's not much like engagement
All
on.
right. They don't. Yeah.
Even on YouTube, when I see like a video that's got 3 million views, it only has like 100 comments. I'm like, that's nothing compared to other platforms. So they're all very different in how they engage. And I think kids they're obsessed with TikTok. Oh, well, not just kids, but a lot of people are obsessed with TikTok. And I hate that platform. That's all there is to it. It like diminishes your intelligence greatly. I think now they're doing the hands off feature, so it'll scroll for you.
Auto scroll.
You
Oh
just
my
sit there and
gosh.
Not liking TikTok. I feel that about all social media at this point in my
Yeah.
life, but you guys have drawn a pretty clear picture of how it's kind of a big part of having an online business and doing what you guys do. And you mentioned the 5 to 8 hours of the screen time a day and talking about the trolls and the people kind of going in on you and getting inappropriate. What are your rules on reaching back out to the actual people that need to have that conversation because they're asking about back pain? Do you go back at the trolls? Do you send them like, fake dick pic? How does that work? What
Send
is
them
like
the clap.
what's your rule on all that stuff, and how do you guys think people should handle that when they're kind of building that following?
Yeah, I think it has evolved over the years, and it's been a learning experience. Initially, when we would get any type of negative feedback or anyone arguing with what we were saying, I think we got very defensive. And over the years, we started to respond with more curiosity than defensiveness. And through taking that approach, we've actually learned a lot. Like there are some really intelligent people who know more than we do, who were right in kind of calling us out on stuff. And when people do it in a way where you can exchange back and forth and you can do it in a respectful way and you can both learn from it, then I think it's great. We welcome being challenged in that way. But it's the people that just get aggressive or, it just turns into a downward spiral that we try to not get drug into. I have definitely set more boundaries with that in the last year. I would say I'm quicker to just block people. Like my peace is valuable to me. And, if you go back and forth with someone, it can be upsetting. And I'm like, and then my kids are at home and I'm upset because of some weirdo on the internet. And like, I'm like, block, done. I'm moving on with my
Makes
life.
it simple. If there's an education there that you can learn from, you can have a thought-provoking conversation, then it can be helpful to engage with them. But for the most part, you just block them or ignore it.
Sometimes it's tough. Like your ego wants to dominate, like exert that you're right and you're wrong, but it's just not worth it at the end of the day, I think.
It isn't.
Sometimes a little bit.
I've been fortunate. I've very early on, I got the opportunity to sit in on some Tim Ferriss stuff, like early, like 2000, 2009, 2010. And the one most impactful thing I've ever heard him say is like, he's just like suffocate things. You know, he's like, if you don't give it any oxygen, it doesn't go any further. But the minute you engage with it, then it just creates this whole back and forth, and then it just floods your feed or whatever. He's like, so just like you said, either block it or just don't engage with it, because then it doesn't really go anywhere. And it, at the end of the day, and what I tell the kids too is when they're hot and bothered, I'm like, the person that you're all riled up about, I'm like, they're living rent free in your head right now, and they're not even thinking about you. So like, who's actually winning? So
they have control over you at that point.
I think one thing that needs to be highlighted is y'all are you engaged or married?
Engaged.
And you live together, you work together, you have a business together. Rich and I, he's in South Carolina now. I'm still in Denver. It's hard to do something with someone all the time, have a business with them, try to create content, and to have a relationship. How do you manage that? And are there different hats? Is it like, no, we are not in business mode right now, we are in relationship mode, and vice versa?
Yeah, we're both like introverts. We're both homebodies, so we're around each other nonstop. Probably 99.5% of the year we're around each other, and I think it works really fucking well. We're just constantly on it with the business, and we still have our weekends are much more just private time. Like, we turn the business off on the weekends, and that's really important to us. The evenings, we make sure to just stop for the most part. There's sometimes where like a video's popping off, we're stoked on it or something like that, and we engage with it more. But for the most part, on the evenings and the weekends, we take time to be with ourselves, and then when we have the boys, we spend more time with them. There was a time where we'd spend a lot more on the business. Like in the beginning of the business, we were really putting a lot of effort into the business, and you can tell that like takes a toll on everyone around you and the relationship. So it is important to create those boundaries.
Yeah, it's been really pretty easy.
You better agree with me.
I think both of us are open to being challenged and appreciate that about the other one of us. So I think it's not that we always agree on things. We definitely don't. There are a lot of things people kind of assume, I think, in business, that we must just agree on stuff, and we don't. We disagree often, and we challenge each other a lot. And I think it makes our business better and stronger in the end.
And our other co-founder is the same way. We have no problem saying like what we could improve on and like call each other out on things. And it is that open communication, transparency that allows for us to do really well. If you let things fester and like something's annoying you about somebody, then eventually it just creates this toxicity that rips everybody apart. So we're grateful to just have all that open communication.
I think it also helped, our relationship started long distance and through text and writing and communicating in that way. So we had got really, really good at communication before we ever actually saw each other or touched each other. So I think we had a pretty solid foundation before we actually started living together.
Do you take timeouts?
Yeah.
Like business time, like
timeouts.
I gotta go for a walk.
We haven't done timeouts in a while, but yeah, we did those a couple times. We have cocoon time is our main one.
Okay.
We're both very introverted, and that's kind of like our code word for like, I need to be alone. I need no one to touch me or talk to me or enter my space right now. Like, I just need to be by me. For him, it's usually video games. For me, it's usually bathtub or reading a book, but it's like, I need a cocoon. We're like, got it. Like, I will not come near you.
And it's not like I don't want to be around you anymore. It's like, this is what I need to feel recharged for the next day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim, if we only knew about cocoon time, bro.
I was trying to tell you to hold space for me, dog. You were get out of here with that woo-woo shit. But no, I love hearing that, because I'm the same way. Like, I like my certain people in my life, but I need more Jimmy time. I'm curious, how often are you calling that cocoon time? Is that every couple days, at least once a week?
Probably every couple days for me.
Yeah, every couple days. It's harder, when the kids are here, things are more chaotic. So when the boys go to their dad's house, then we both usually, that's like those days are when we get more of the cocoon time. But when things are more stressful, if work is more stressful, if something else in our life is happening that has elevated stress, then the need for cocoon time tends to go up. Also, if we have more obligations, speaking obligations like podcasts or speaking events publicly or travel, that tends to kind of zap our energy for both of us. Like anything where we're communicating a lot with people afterward, we kind of just go.
There's we've got to be on. Like we need to be these extroverts and show people that we can communicate and be big and boisterous and captivating. And then once the lights go off, it's like it just fall apart. And yeah, that's it. I do my video games and just recharges me. I love it.
So I want to touch on that for a second, not the video games. I'm interested in that too, but we'll save that for the end. But I want to talk about the introverts becoming or having that ability to become extroverts, because I feel like that's something that I tend to struggle with. I'm very introverted, and smaller groups, or when I'm in my comfort zone, I can be very extroverted, but sometimes that's not always the case when it comes to turning on the camera to create a piece of content. So I'm just curious, is there some kind of ritual or some mantras, or is it just because you've been doing it for so long you can flip that switch?
There's a few things for both of us. Yes, practice helps a lot. I've made thousands and thousands of videos for social media and our programs, some long form, some very short. And then I did Dale Carnegie speaking course. So that was an excellent weekend course. Highly recommend doing something like that, where, you go in there and a lot of the people there are like, I need to be a better speaker to present my product to some business or to my boss or whatever it is. And I'm like, I talk to a camera lens. Like I don't talk to people a lot of the time. So I did my training talking to the camera. They're like, we want you to focus on the camera. And they teach me how to do that. And they have you sit on your hands. And because people that use their hands a lot, they tend to lose expression in their face. So if you sit on your hands, their face becomes more captivating, because that's where people want to look. They don't really look at your hands. Speaking in different voices and stuff like that to find different tones and ranges, that was super profound. And then the Landmark Forum, I did a lot of that, and that really helped me the most with just getting out of my head and being able to really connect with people on a deeper level, which is very important for the public speaking aspect and whatnot.
Yeah, I think Dale Carnegie and Landmark Forum also for me. Dale Carnegie was great. Also some reframing. So for me, when we're speaking publicly in a large group of people, that is definitely not my comfort zone. I get very anxious. I get sweaty. I'm like, I would give anything to just not be there. But reframing that kind of anxiety into excitement and just changing what I tell myself, rather than being like, oh, I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious. I'm so excited. Like, what an amazing opportunity. I get to talk about this thing I'm so passionate about. I'm so excited that I'm sweating. And it sounds kind of silly, but it really does help just kind of lower that anxiousness and make it more enjoyable. And then Andrew's been great for me, just having someone kind of in my corner with filming and stuff, saying bring that bubbly energy that is you, that you don't show to most people, bring that on the camera. That's infectious and people want to see that. And having someone giving you positive feedback that who you are is something that people want to see, I think was helpful for me.
So with that being said, do you have moments with the camera specifically where maybe a particular day or something where you're just like, you know what, this is not firing, let's shut it down for the day and try again tomorrow? Or is it something you go, let's
That's
take
probably
a 10-minute
that's the only
cocoon time
time
and
where
come
we
back?
might butt heads. just be like, we need to make content, and there's just like one of us just like, fuck this, you know, like.
Well, we fight about, so whoever's kind of doing more of the teaching, that's more taxing than the one
Yeah.
who's sort of demoing the stuff, because you just don't have, your brain doesn't have to think as hard when you're not trying to speak and teach and perform and whatever. So yeah, there's some of that. Like, we drink more coffee and just try to get ourselves stoked up about it. But there are definitely some days where it's like, all right, 3 more videos and we're done. Okay, deal. We're gonna crank these 3 and we're done.
Or there's just a topic that we're not really that excited to talk about. It's like, I don't know. Just,
Yeah, curious because we've had some of those moments that Jimmy's been trying to fire me up, and I'm just like, I'm just not feeling it right now, dog.
It just depends on like what, what you need it for. Like if you need it for that day or the next day, then it just sucks. Like you have to get it done, and it's easier just to like try and like tap into like the last 5% of your energy and just like put in that focus for 10 minutes, get it done, and then you can move on. But like if you have a bunch of bank content, like I said, it makes it so much easier to make this stuff and just feel at ease. Like you don't need to get it done that day. You could finish it another day if you needed to. And
I think
makes
it
a
helps.
difference.
We try to film on Mondays and Tuesdays too. So it sort of helps mentally to prepare and know what's going to be expected. Like Mondays and Tuesdays, I need to be ready to be on camera. I need to be ready to talk. I need to have energy, so you can kind of just prepare and know that that's coming. I think that's helped to be very regimented with that. Like if I was expected to just do it on a random Friday, I don't think I would be able to tap into that as well.
Yeah, make sure you have a plan there for sure. This week we haven't filmed anything because we did so much last week. So taking a break.
I appreciate you guys sharing the tools and the systems you've used to better yourself in creating content, because I think that's something that people just think, oh, I'm gonna turn this camera on and my personality is gonna get me over and everyone's gonna love me. I'm gonna get a million followers. Well, we've learned that that's not the case in things, and you got to harness things. And then when you're editing podcasts, you start listening to yourself and you realize, oh, I don't know how to speak. I say and like a lot. And I need to get better at those things. So I appreciate you guys sharing how you kind of prep for those things, or how you've sharpened your tools. The question I have off of that, you mentioned Mondays and Tuesdays are the days that's when we're doing our content. Do you have rituals, or your Sunday night or your Monday night that you're doing certain things, you're getting to bed at certain times? Are you what are you doing on those shoot days to come as the best version of yourself and to perform the best you can?
We have rituals every day. We are both very routine people, just with most things in lives. But I would say, I don't know, we usually clean the house up, we meal prep a little bit on Sundays, grocery shop, go into Monday with, good healthy food. We get in a workout before we film.
Got to get the pump.
Yeah. And then we just crank.
Yeah, we usually talk about the content the night before too. Like, what is it that we're filming? And it doesn't even necessarily need to get like super granular, like every scene and like scripted out. We have different kinds of content that we make. So sometimes it's just like off the wall. We're going to make this. We want it to be less than 30 seconds. We want it to be 60 to 90 seconds. We want it to be long form, 3 minutes. Or we need to script this out. We're going to shoot scene by scene, and it's going to take this 15-second video, 2 hours to make, and it's going to absolutely blow up type of thing. Like those are the ones that we spend a lot more time on.
Or it doesn't blow up.
Or it doesn't blow up, and then you're like, fuck you. Like, this sucks. And yeah. So there's we usually plan out the night before a little bit, so we have an idea of what we're getting into.
Andrew, you bring getting the pump on before you get shooting. Do you ever just sit down and be like, man, I wish I would have just kept my shirt on? And always having your shirt off, does that make you so conscious of what you put in your body and how you look? No, you don't care.
Love that.
I love me some burgers and fries.
Your metabolism allows you to love burgers and fries. If it didn't, I think you would.
I would be, for sure.
Yeah.
I eat as much as I can. Like, we eat very healthy whole foods, and The reason for me is because like my gut, just as I've gotten older, is just not liking a lot of like the crappy foods anymore. So eating the whole foods, and I'm like, I just have to eat more whole foods though. Like, I'm just eating like chicken breast and like veggies and rice and potatoes or whatever. And like, I eat eggs for breakfast and or oatmeal or something like that. And I just have to eat a lot more of it to get the calories that I could get from like a burger. So, I'm trying to eat like 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day, just because I love to just crush it in the gym. Still, I kind of follow like a CrossFit type regimen, um, so it's high energy.
I think it is hard, like being on camera too, just with any body issues or anything. That's always a battle of like, do we put a filter on this? Like, oh, my face is breaking out today. Do I put a filter on it, or do I just
Yeah.
send it because that's real? And it's kind of a struggle sometimes.
The body, I've tried to keep everything as like on my personal social media page, I keep everything as like open and honest as possible. So like I shared about, I just started growing hair for the first time, like 32 years old. And I don't know how the fuck to shave. And I was just getting like full on folliculitis here. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going on camera and I'm like, what is up with every single video I look at? I'm like, dude, my face. It hasn't been the shirt being off. That hasn't been an issue for me in like years, for my shirt to be off. But my face, like the last 4 months, I'm like, dude. So yeah, I definitely think about all of that stuff on camera. And almost no one ever says anything bad about like the things that you think about that are bad. Like the stuff you look at yourself in the mirror, people don't, I don't care.
So with that said, I got 3 things for you. First one, have you dabbled in eating raw liver? Second one, what's your favorite thing to do for your pump? And third one, what are you doing for shaving?
Remember I said my gut started to get messed up? That was the raw
Yeah.
liver.
It was raw chicken liver, to be specific. And
Oof.
I'm over here, the nurse. I'm like, do you really feel like it has to be raw for it's like, really, we have to do raw chicken liver? And then he's ended up being tested for parasites and had like a lot of gut issues.
I didn't have,
like,
I didn't do the
you didn't
parasite.
have parasites,
No.
but got tested for them. And
So
yes.
I did the raw liver. I just decided, I'm like, great, it gets denatured when you cook it, like whatever. I cook it and eat it. I don't eat it too often. What was the other one?
Favorite thing to do for a pump before a video?
Oh, I just do my workouts for the videos. I never like pump out a set of anything for the videos.
No
I
bands.
never do that.
Okay. And then so I fancy myself as somewhat of a facial hair aficionado, because
I'm excited.
I didn't start growing hair until I was like 35, like full beard, 35, 36. So
that's
I feel
awesome.
your pain.
you might look like that soon, baby.
Yeah, so I used like an electric shaver for a while, and then my face started to grow a little bit thicker, and I noticed that it was kind of bothering my face, and I started to get some of the breakouts. So I got a nicer one, like a Braun, whatever, like a foil shaver, and that made it 20 times worse, like insane. It was like
just
the
dry?
closest. Dry. I tried it dry. I tried it wet. Like it just kept making it super, super bad. Like wet with a cream or something like that. Then I asked my following, and I'd say I got 300 responses about the things I should use to shave, and 80% of them were a straight razor. And I was surprised by that. I'd never not a straight razor. I'm sorry, a safety razor. I'd never used a safety razor. And I had one dude, he's an engineer, reach out to me, and he had like a list of all this stuff that he does. And I was like, I'm going to follow this guy's stuff. I've met him in person before too. And I don't know, I got this thing, and it's a pretty sweet razor from like Canada. I don't even know what
I don't know what's going on your side of the sink anymore. There's
so much shit over there. I got the bowl and the brush, and like I'm going at it.
Okay.
So I've just started learning how to use that thing, and I've had some ups and downs there, but I think I'm figuring it out. It's not the
Okay.
closest shave, but it's better than me looking like pizza again, like I was
Yeah.
in high school.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're on the right track. I don't know if you've gotten, I know the brush and the cream is good. I don't know if you've gotten a shave oil
No, I haven't.
or just an oil to put on your face, like after an aftershave.
There's an oil I've been using from this Greek lady since I was like 17. Back when
Okay.
I had like really bad acne, I started using this stuff. It's a soap and an oil. And like I have to pay for it over the phone every time. And like she makes it and like sends it, and it comes in like wrapped in paper towels and stuff. Like it is just like,
So coming from Greece.
no, she lives in the United States, but she is
Okay.
like, she has the thickest Greek accent, and it is great. I've been
Okay.
using that for years. There was a period of time where I didn't use it. My face just started going crazy again, started using it again. And I was like, all right, I'm just using this forever then until
Okay.
she's no longer with us.
Okay. And then I would say the one other thing I would recommend for you to do, maybe not all the time, but maybe like once a month, is pamper yourself a little bit and go find you're in Nashville. There's lots of hipsters there. I'm sure there's a lot of great gentlemen barbershops there. Go at least once a month and get yourself a hot towel shave. Like they'll put the hot towel on, they'll
Yeah.
sit you
Change
back,
your
hot
life,
towel, they'll oil your
Change your
face, they'll massage
will.
you, and they'll give you a proper straight razor shave. And that'll kind of set the tone for you. But I think you probably work really hard and deserve something like that where you can spend a good 30 to 45 minutes where someone's, taking care of all your facial needs and you don't have to really stress about it. And then that kind of gets you that really close shave that you want. And then as you use the safety razor more and more, you'll get better at getting closer and closer with it.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Not to get off topic.
is there anything on wealth that we haven't spoken of that our audience really needs to know?
I mean, we help you with pain. Our programs are, designed to help people overcome pain in a long-term format. So I kind of pride myself in saying that we don't look for like a quick solution, because I did that for years and it doesn't last. So we try to give people like a lasting solution and something they can come back to utilize, because people think that like they're trying to become pain-free. And what we tell them is we're trying to get them to be free of pain, meaning that they're free of the constraints that pain brings about, because pain is inevitable. You're going to have things happen to you. So it's helpful to be able to come back to something like if you fall off a cliff or you get hit by a car or you drop a barbell on yourself and like you break something, like you want something that you can utilize to rehab after that initial injury heals. So, I mean, that's what we're about.
If you guys are coffee drinkers, how do you brew your coffee and how do you take it?
I work with a company, Strong Coffee. I've been drinking that for the last 2.5 years. It's an instant coffee, actually. It's one of the best that I've had. It also has like collagen, MCT, ashwagandha, L-theanine, some nootropic stuff. I don't know, neurofactor, and you don't get like jittery and you don't crash. So I've been drinking that forever. They got like a latte and a black coffee. Katie.
I'm high maintenance. I drink the black strong coffee, but then I add 2 scoops of chocolate collagen, and then I foam milk with chocolate mint element, salt, and electrolytes on the top and put, because
There you go,
that's-
Richie Rich.
It's funny you should say, wow, we got so much to go through with this because I just ordered, I've dabbled in the strong coffee. I just ordered some. I'm waiting on my my order to arrive. So I'm curious as to, I know you said you prefer the strong. Andrew, do you like the latte or is there one particular one that you fancy?
I'll drink them all. I cycle through all 3 of them. There's the plain latte, the vanilla latte, and then the black. I'll cycle through the 3.
Have you ever had the lavender one?
I do not like it. And
I
Okay.
actually love lavender, and I
was just curious. I saw it on the website. I was kind of like, but yeah, I think lavender is kind of.
it's not my favorite. I think it's a very different flavor. I would just the black is the most versatile because you can just add whatever you want to it.
Yeah. With that being said, Katie, I have been doing the chocolate, or not chocolate, yeah, the chocolate caramel element in my Americanos with a little bit of heavy cream. And that's the bomb.
Yeah, it makes me very happy in the morning. I
Yeah,
just get
it's-
excited every morning.
And then you take a fat shit.
The best. That's the best reason to drink coffee.
Have you had their gummies?
Wait,
The
Wait,
strong coffee gummies.
no, I don't even know about that.
Okay, well, you should, as a sponsored athlete, you should get on that, because I ordered those too, and I haven't had them yet. I just saw them on the website. They offered them to me, so I was like, yeah, throw a box of those or bag
Are
of
they
those
just
in there.
CBD gummies? All of a
No,
sudden?
they're like coffee gummies. It's like for energy.
All right.
That would
then.
be great for filming days. Just pop those in.
I don't know. I just like the taste of like hot black coffee though. Like
Yeah, I hear
I'd
you.
rather drink that than eat a gummy.
Cool. I know we touched on this a little bit, but if we could go in a little bit more in depth into your daily practices and daily rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest versions of yourself, both either individually or as a unified front.
We do.
I mean, exercise, movement for sure for me.
Mhm.
That is like the number one thing. I just won't have a good day if I don't do that. So I start that immediately in the morning.
Yeah, I do all of them. I don't know. I wake up and I spend like 30 minutes in the bathroom, not doing that, but like just getting my face, my hair, my teeth, my eyes. I got contacts in. Like I just spend that 30 minutes just like taking care of myself in the morning. No phone or anything like that. Get my coffee and then I do my workout. It's usually most of the time it's a good workout. The last couple of days have been kind of shitty. Like we've been feeling a little bit sick. We've got some sickliness going around the area here. So and then the evenings, like I make sure to just get a little bit of downtime. Like that's super important to me. I can't just be working all day. It's like we did in the beginning. I'd work all fucking day and then I'd go to bed and just like it's like you're dreaming about work. You wake up, you start work. That's kind of the nature of just starting a new business and trying to get it to a point where it's sufficient. So now I make sure to have that time in the evening. Super important. I cook a lot too. We cook a lot. So that's
Cook a lot. I do the dishes.
it's therapeutic for me. I think it's really fun to cook and it's healthier, obviously, cheaper.
Yeah.
I love it.
What's your go-to specialty?
I mean, I cooked on the Traeger today. I smoked a chicken for a couple hours and then, toasted it up and dude, the Traeger's insane.
Have you tried smoking liver?
I haven't tried smoking liver. I've smoked a few things like the long term, like 8-hour smokes, 12 hours, 14 hours, and I ruin them all. So I get a little bit traumatized trying to do another one.
Would you
I
say
haven't
you
done
ruin
liver.
them, overcook them?
Yeah, or like it's like I follow the instructions to a T and it's just not right. Like we have this place called Hickory Nut Gap Farm and I go get the meat there. It's like, oh, I'm going to cook this really high quality meat, but it's a regenerative pasture raised farm. And I'm like, these meats just don't have enough fat or something. And it's just like tough.
Some of them were like bison
it
or
costs 3
venison
times as much.
steaks and stuff, like different types of meat that are leaner and harder to cook.
Yeah.
What cooks in there the best? Like what's gonna come out the best?
Dude, poultry is amazing. I mean, obviously it's a smoker. So pork and ribs, and I made ribs. Those were great.
Those were incredible.
But the chicken is insane. Like you just can't mess it up, and it's the juiciest thing. The breast is like melting. I don't understand.
You still about that sourdough life?
Yeah,
Let's go.
we got all kinds of sourdough places around here in Hippieville. But dude, it's so good.
Right on.
Are you making it yourself at all or what?
No,
No, don't need to.
We tried that briefly during COVID and just,
Just buy it. I mean, there's places around here. It's just so good. Like you can't. They got the crunch on the outside. Like that is important.
Yeah. Well, I also, as a Jersey guy, I have a vision of doing a sourdough pizza place.
Dude, it'll be my first time to Jersey if you make it there.
Well, we ain't doing
Wherever
it in
you make it.
Jersey. You better.
You're not going to
believe
Jersey?
that.
We do. There was at the farmers market. There was an artisan place that used to sell. You could buy sourdough, and so I was making sourdough pizzas, but I was doing it in a cast iron skillet, and they were pretty bomb.
Ooh, we've never done pizza in a skillet. We've done pizza on the grill, which is awesome.
Cast iron's great. Like making the steaks on there, you can get the cast iron so hot, like it just makes a really nice sear.
Yep.
I love,
Yeah, I love
cast
mine.
iron.
Key with the pizzas is you gotta, when you preheat the oven, you put the cast iron in there so it heats up as it's preheating, so then it cooks not
So
just.
it's airier.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, do I sense a cooking show with the two shirtless dudes? Me directing and producing in South Carolina, North Carolina. I don't know, man.
I
I'm
like
kind of
it.
vibing this right now.
You know, it'll do well if we just wear like a thong and
Just the apron.
Yeah, like the
thong and
Borat.
apron.
I don't know,
bathing
man.
suits.
Richie rocks the jean shorts pretty well. I got.
I have a pair of those.
Let's go. Get a pair of work boots and white socks. Call it a day.
I do have the overalls now, so I could go shirtless with the overalls. That's kind of the vibe I'm trying to live by. Deliverance.
Drum roll, please, for this next one. This has come up numerous times in the podcast. What are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
Go ahead, Katie.
I always come back to Huberman's podcasts. I really like them. They can be thick. I know some people don't like listening
They
to
don't
the
like thick.
entire podcast, but I really enjoy that a lot.
Are you taking notes?
No, I don't take notes.
Oh, okay.
I know I'm definitely a busybody, so I listen to the podcast while I'm doing something, walking, cleaning, laundry, dishes, something. Yeah. Everything else that I read is nonfiction. A lot of I've been reading a lot of books about autism and hypermobility and connective tissue disorders lately. That's been my little hole that I've gone down.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you
the other thing.
found, not to cut you off, Andrew, have you found
No, you're-
anything about autism that really sticks out to you that you think people need to know?
I mean, so many things. I think that it's very poorly understood from the general population, and even a lot of the medical providers and population. I've heard people refer to it as mental illness, which it's not. Neurodiversity, just it's a different way of your brain processing information. And I have a son who is autistic, and he is awesome, and he is extremely talented, like profoundly talented in certain areas, and then other things are really challenging for him. And I think that a lot of people experience that to some degree. But I'm just fascinated by it. There's also a correlation between hypermobility and neurodivergence. So autism, ADHD, Tourette's, dyslexia, OCD, those things are more prevalent among people who are hypermobile.
Really?
Interesting. Yeah.
That is fascinating. Because I'm back teaching special education down here. I don't necessarily work with that population as much. I do see some of the individuals, not as much. I would like to work with that population more because I've always enjoyed that. With that being said, how much of the nutrition comes into your research or maybe even some experimentation?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't come across a lot of research on that. I mean, I definitely notice in our family that, what we're consuming definitely plays a role in everyone's mood and, ability to stay on task and process information and sleep better and just kind of, live better. Like the definitely the food dyes, the highly processed stuff, the sugars, I let them do that. They're kids, and sometimes we go to birthday parties and they do that, but we don't buy that kind of stuff. We don't keep it in the house. We do candy swaps for, Halloween. They go trick or treating, and then I'm like, "Do you want baseball cards for all your candy? You can swap." And they're like, "Yes, great." And we throw the
Genius.
candy in the garbage.
Love it.
I want to ask one more question on this topic, because I've worked with people with developmental disabilities. So is Rich, and it's a strong place in my heart. And prior to having that experience, I was scared of people with mental disabilities, or just, I didn't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. Katie, how have you changed having a son who is autistic? What was your mindset when you first heard your son was autistic or found out? And how do you think people, like, what do you think people are better ways for people to go about it, to realize, like, hey, they're humans just like us, and they're dealing with their own things, but it doesn't make them like worse or scary, and they actually have things to contribute?
Yeah, so it's a spectrum, right? A lot of these diagnoses that people receive, some people are mildly impacted or impacted in ways that aren't super noticeable, right, when you're interacting with them, and some people it's very apparent immediately that there's a disability there. My son is definitely, it's not evident, so he wasn't diagnosed for a long time, and it just really opened our eyes to a lot of how he processes things and struggles with communication, and really helped for me as a mom. It helped me just to understand him better and show up better and support him better. I do also have a nephew who is profoundly disabled. He has severe cerebral palsy. He's one of the people that you immediately know. I mean, he doesn't talk, he can't feed himself. He's an adult in a wheelchair. And that used to, even as a nurse, be kind of a, you see someone like that and you're like, you don't want to stare, but also they look very different. And it's natural, I think, to wonder, like, why is the person like that? What happened to them? Or why did that happen? Or, to just picture, like, what is a day in the life of that family like? And when my nephew was born, and as he got older, and, I grew up around him, it just changes. Like, when you've had that in your family, you've loved someone like that, you're immediately more comfortable, I think, asking or just talking to people who are profoundly disabled like that. I mean, they're people just like anyone else. Like, he loves when someone says his name and talks to him. And I think, I don't know, I think at the core, I mean, we're all just people. Everyone just wants to be loved. I think there's so much misunderstanding, and I think that a lot of the things that come across as hurtful, are just a lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Andrew, my man, what are you listening to?
I've listened to Skrillex's new album probably 250 times since it came out 2 weeks ago.
It's good, I guess, huh?
I like it a lot. There's two. He released one, and then 3 days later he released another one unannounced in the middle of one of his sets at Madison Square Garden. It's pretty sweet. It's good. Like, he used to be like that screechy kind of crazy dude, and he's not. He's evolved a lot in the last 12 years. Even Katie enjoys quite a bit of it. Say yes.
Rumble.
The Rumble.
Yes, Rumble.
I love it.
And what else? I still am all about Above and Beyond and everything that they produce, like all of it. They're some of my favorite shows. Talk about like a community, coming back to social media, like those people have created like one of the happiest and most like connected and loving communities that I've seen, just all welcoming of all types of people. And I don't know, every time I've seen them, just the people that are watching them are just like, it's a really, really cool environment.
Yodo,
Hold on,
still
Rich.
on your radar?
Before you go, Rich, I just want to tell Andrew, just know I have days in my life where Above and Beyond, Grum, Andrew Byard, I'm listening to them and I'm vibing you, dude. I'm getting in that vibe that we used to get in the gym. You're, yo, listen to this. Listen to, and don't think that I'm not like Porter Robinson. Like anytime I'm listening to those dudes, I'm thinking of you, dog. So sorry to cut you off,
Appreciate that.
Rich.
Yeah, I was just obsessed. We'd play all kinds of stuff in there. That was a good time.
So Yodo still moving the needle for you?
What is it?
Yodo?
Yeah, of course.
Late
I'm trying
eight?
to think. Like I've listened to Skrillex so much, I don't even remember what I was listening to before that.
Well, since you mentioned Skrillex, I was gonna ask you if you were into Fred again at all.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was until they linked up and started doing their stuff, and I've enjoyed that. Who's the other dude? He makes some
Fortet?
weird. Yeah, he makes some interesting stuff, dude.
Yeah.
He's a trip.
Right on. Well, I hadn't. I've been listening to Rumble a lot lately, but I'm gonna take a dive back in and check out. Don't Get Too Close.
Oh, that was the other album. That one's chill. I don't listen to that one too much. The other one's
Guess for Fire is the one you're talking about.
yeah.
Okay.
Listen to a lot of drum and bass.
Yes.
I was going on Eric Prydz for a while.
Classic.
Oh, wrong one. Wrong playlist.
And then
Sorry.
anytime I post, if I put a Tool song on my video, people love it.
Yeah, I don't see you as a Tool guy though.
I used to listen to a lot of metal
Okay.
in high school, and I know they're not like metal; it's more metal rock. But I don't know. I just loved it. I used to listen to all their albums over and over and over.
Do you ever listen to Pussifer?
Is it? I've heard of that. What is that? A song or a band?
It's Maynard's side project, but I like to think of it as like Tool if they evolved.
I've heard it. I don't know.
I mean,
was
it's
like, "Who's this?"
it's super trippy, and you might hate it, but you also might love it. Like I listen to Pussifer more than I listen to Tool now.
I'm
It's a
intrigued.
fun name.
Since you
Like
mentioned
that.
since you mentioned drum and bass, have you heard of Gray Code?
Say it again. I'm like,
Gray
sometimes I
Code.
wonder if they're like said a different way. Great
Gray Code.
gray code. I don't know.
I got on a drum and bass kick starting last year, and Gray Code was someone that came across my radar that I get into a little bit.
There it is. Well, my other videographer, Hank, back in the day, he's English, so he would just send me all kinds of just crazy drum and bass stuff. I'm like, this is just gnarly.
Yeah.
So we just go back and forth. Chasing Status. Hold on, Katie's like, all right, I'm done with this.
No, you're fine.
Are you
Is it-
still on Apple Music, or you go to Spotify yet?
I thought this album was really great by Chasing Status.
Okay.
Apple Music, it's higher quality. Like, why am I gonna mess with Spotify? I'm an audiophile. I'm not gonna mess with low quality audio.
Yeah, you just made me feel like such a low level person that I don't
Right?
have Apple Music.
What was that? Those songs we were listening to that were like the 8D or whatever.
That was stuff you found.
Yeah, what was that? That stuff makes my whole body just
That was like,
"Rah."
so
So cool.
she found some music somewhere. You put it on. It's just like this weird, repetitive, like you have to wear headphones and it hits you from all kinds of different angles in the headphones. And she just started crying. And like people that were talking about, like they were all just crying, like listening. It just like created this emotion, just like force some like
You know what it
tapping
is?
into your brain.
Sounds great. How do I get a hold
Yeah,
of
Like
that?
your
I want to
eyes-
cry.
Like you close your eyes and your eyes just move back and forth. It's almost like a little bit like EMDR where it hits like right side, left side of your brain. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
because
know,
the
it's
audio is
really
going back
trippy.
and forth too, and it is a trip. It's not like music you listen
It's
to.
not
I
like
guess you
binaural
could, but-
beats, is it?
Yeah,
Fine,
like kind
that's
of
it.
like that. Yeah.
Is it like on YouTube?
Yeah, you can find them on YouTube.
The one you
Some
found
of
was
them
like,
suck, but that one was like that one just like I don't
Was
know.
it a
went viral
particular
on TikTok.
frequency?
I don't know. That one just went viral on TikTok and was really messing with people.
I can find it and send it to
Yeah,
you.
please. We're curious.
I'd love to see you guys try.
Yeah, we might have to.
Oh, it's pretty easy.
We'll put it
from
on our
your
clapper.
phone.
Cry on the clap.
Last question for you, then we'll get you out of here. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
We both went to the same place.
Yeah, I mean, sex is good. I mean, I love video games. Like, that's my thing. How about you?
I mean, sex and chocolate.
What kind
Okay.
of chocolate?
We have a whole cookie jar filled with chocolate. So like all different kinds of chocolate.
All right. I'm really big on the evolved chocolate these days, and I'm dyslexia is real for me, so reading isn't really like something I pay attention to. So I buy stuff and I don't know what it's called, but I think it's called like Eco or something. But they make
Oh,
these
yeah.
truffles.
Yep.
They're to die for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been really into the Hue chocolate. They have the grass-fed, grass-fed chocolate, and they have like cashew butter filled dark chocolate squares.
But they
Those
just
have
got
been pretty
bought
good.
by like Kellogg or something this last week, so they're fucked.
They're gonna go downhill. But
What video game are you playing? Do you mix it up, or you have one thing that you're addicted to? Or is it guilty pleasure? I should
I've been
say.
playing the Hogwarts one because that was going viral and it's pretty damn good. Like, I don't know, I liked all the Harry Potter stuff as a kid, and but the gameplay is really fun. Diablo 4, I just did the beta for, and I'm so excited for that. That comes out in June though.
How'd you get the beta? Do you know someone?
I just bought the
All right.
and then waited for an entire day to get into the queue.
yeah, I was like waiting in a queue all day to get in. Have you guys played Diablo? Any of them?
We're not video game guys.
Yeah. So yeah, anyone that likes Diablo, I'd highly recommend it.
So you playing on a computer? Or you got a gaming system?
I have both, but that one I do on the computer. Hogwarts I do on the PlayStation.
You have a setup?
Yeah, PS5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what do you have a gamer chair you recommend?
I stand.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's go, dude.
I stand at the
Uncle-
PC. I sit on the couch for the PlayStation, but I stand at my computer.
You
Um,
stand very erectly at the computer and then you turn into a pile of goo on the couch.
I'm just like my legs up. I'm just like gaming.
I'm killing you nerds with good posture and my shirt off.
Messing up some wizards, turning them into sheep and stuff. It's good.
So do you have a throwback system? Because the kids today were talking about how the PS2 is the old school games are better. They enjoy the old school PS2 games than maybe a PS5. That's what they were
Kids that
saying.
weren't alive when the
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 was around, they're just like, I'm gonna be retro.
Well, you took Luca to that arcade. You're
Yeah.
showing him Duck Hunt, right?
Oh yeah, Duck Hunt. So no, I'm not playing the old games. Like I like graphics. I like high quality stuff, and that stuff's just, but we went to this, they have a retrocade over here. It's got the Duck Hunt. They have the old NES. You plug the Duck Hunt in there, he's just shooting the screen and stuff like that. And then I started playing like Nintendo 64, like Mario Kart. And I plugged it in, like, dude, this looks like shit. Like, I remember this looking amazing. No.
Get this trash out of here.
It's trash out of here. I'm gonna go back to this stuff. Spend too much money to play 2D graphics. Come on.
Yeah.
I grew up on that shit. I don't want to go relive it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so strange that the kids are like, yeah, I want to go play the old systems. That's interesting.
That's what I said. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, they're way better games. I'm like, okay.
Hipsters.
That's strange. I mean, that the whole way better thing, like some new games, most new games now suck. Yeah, I give them that, but there's definitely some really good shit.
Thank you so much for taking time and staying up late with us. Appreciate it so much. And I love seeing what you guys are doing, Katie. It was awesome meeting you virtually. Hopefully,
Nice
since
to meet
Rich is in South Carolina, I'm serious about that cooking show. I'll come down with some cameras and stuff. We'll make it happen. Andrew, you're the man, brother. Keep doing your thing.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, one last thing, dude. Like Jim, I learned so much from you as a motivator when I'd be working out, going through some grindy shit like Murph or something like that. Like you were just such a good, positive motivator that it's like you see a lot of coaches are like, you need to fucking get out, like just like being assholes. And I just took away so much from that style of coaching. And depending on the person, I'll use that or the more militant asshole kind of approach, but I absolutely love it. So appreciate you being there.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
I think I've been on the receiving end of some of that trickle down.
Get the fuck down.
No, like you really give like positive feedback, which is helpful when you're just fucking suffering.
Yeah, all of that came from Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you. That means the world to me because, I don't coach anymore, but to hear those things, it makes me realize that, I'm on my path, I'm doing my thing, and there's people along the way that as fondly as I think about you, I know that there's certain things that you take from me. So, and just know, like I've said this whole time, I really am grateful for the time we spent together.
Appreciate that, man.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Have a great night.
Appreciate you
care.
having us. It was nice
Yeah,
catching up.
Always, you know it.
Yeah, buddy.